Hey y'all, good morning. Today's morning devotion is from Mark chapter 2 verse 13, really all the way through chapter 3 verse 6. And it's looking at the stories where Jesus ate with sinners and the Pharisees questioned his disciples and him about fasting, and then he was healing on the Sabbath. And really the main takeaway, or the what that I'm focusing on today, is that Jesus is counter-cultural. Jesus did not move according to culture. He did not move in respect to culture. He didn't necessarily respect the culture. Jesus moved according to and respected the standards and mission of God. Y'all, culture is not a law. But sometimes, if we're being honest, it can feel like it. We can feel like we're supposed to do certain things because the culture tells us to, or the world tells us to, or people tell us to. But culture can become toxic. This culture that Jesus was living in, it included legalism. It included a distortion of the relationship that God had originally intended into this other practice of religion. It included separation, elitism, all of these things. But God's culture and God's standard, his mission, that is all the same, and that's always going to be love. Jesus didn't come to live according to the world's perverted version of what God created and set forth in this earth. He walked and he moved intentionally to change, move, and transform and restore the culture to what it should have always been, which is love. Those who had problems with what Jesus was doing, the Pharisees and the religious leaders of that time, with the fact that they had issues with the fact that he was eating with sinners, with the fact that he was healing on the Sabbath, with the fact that his disciples did not practice fasting as their followers did and as they did. They were clinging to this culture that they created, that they established, and they were clinging to their own version of religion and not the culture and the establishment of God, which is love. And that true love can only be found in relationship, authentic, personal, intimate relationship with Jesus Christ. Jesus didn't let the culture of the place that he existed in drive him, because he was driven and dedicated to a greater and higher culture, which is the love of the Lord. And he lived simply loving and caring for all people. So let us be more like Jesus. Let us be countercultural. Let us move and act and do not what the world tells us to, not what people tell us to, not what culture tells us to, not what's always been done, but let's just simply love people the way that God would. And we can only do that when we know God. We can't love like God without God, and we find God through Jesus. So let's follow Jesus' example, not let the culture, the world dictate how we move, but let love be our driver. Not love as the world knows it, but love as God knows it. Love is who he is. Y'all have a great and wonderful day today. Bye, y'all.